Sorry, just waiting. All right, what's up, guys? Blue Chip Sports Prep, Coach Kelly, Coach Z in the house. Listen, hey, just like Nick Saban says it, hey, excuse me. We people owe you nothing, and we're here to give you as much as we possibly can. So listen, hey, to start this off, listen, we're having a good Wednesday morning, and we've got a lot of great topics for you guys today. And I wanted to start this off. Me and Coach Kelly want to start this off by saying we want to talk a little bit about emails and social media and how to present that for college coaches. And I'll go ahead and I'll take the lead on this. But one thing as a college coach and college recruiter, and of course, Coach Kelly's got plenty of years dealing with this, and a lot of young student athletes make the mistake of making sure to have the right pieces of information on your profiles. Whatever social media that you use and whatever you think coaches are going to be on, you want to be able to hit every specific piece of information that they want to see. If a coach comes on your social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you need to have everything right there in front of them. You don't want to make sure that these coaches have to go and search out your information and any of that kind of stuff. Here's what I recommend. And I'm a big eye test guy. Like I want to see a profile picture on there of you playing sports. I don't want to see it of you and your girlfriend. I don't want to see it of you and your family. I know that might hurt somebody's feelings, but it becomes a business at this point. And if I'm a coach and I'm trying to dig through and trying to get kids in here, especially if it's late, it's like in spring, somewhere late in the spring, or late after a second signing date or anything like that. I want to make sure that you have the right thing that's going to, as I'm scrolling through, right, I'm going to see it. I'm going to say, oh my God, the offensive lineman, boom. I'm going to either follow him or I'm going to click on it and see what you're all about. Especially, so it's funny because from a coach, like a football coach's standpoint, here's how my mind works, and most coaches, this is how their mind works. When you're scrolling through, I see your profile picture because I'm looking to find athletes. I'm trying to look for football players. I'm looking for something to stand out from the picture. Number one. Number two, obviously I want to see what your name is. I want to know. And then the next thing is I want to see your graduation date. Like when you graduate, 24, 25, 26. Because right then and there, if I find – because I want to know if it's worth my time. Because if you're a junior – I really don't have a whole lot of time, but I may put you on the back burner and say, hey, well, we'll talk to him a little bit down the road. But I want to know your graduation date, and then I want to know your height and weight. I want to know your email, your email, whatever your email title, however you want to, what do you call it? Just your
Twitter
email
handle. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever. And then your highlights. Boom. That's it. But to catch a coach's eye when he's scrolling down the list. So as a junior college coach, it's kind of the Wild West. So when I'm looking for kids, especially on Instagram, I'm scrolling down, and all of a sudden, boom, I find that football player. He's a big guy. Oh, whoa, hold on a sec. Click on it, or Twitter. Click on it. And now I want to see all the details. If you're a guy that's still out there, here's another thing to add on top of that. I would put on below there, I'd say still available. Or uncommitted, or whatever it is. Right. I don't really care about all your blessed to receive offers because in that profile, because I'm going to see that scrolling down your timeline. But I want everything right in front of you, right in front of me, to where I can make. Oh, and then your cell phone. That's kind of a bonehead thing not to put on there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or to forget to put on. But you want to make sure you have that all that on there, because it almost is easier to access your information on social media than it is through an email. Because emails, these coaches get thousands of emails, and it makes it hard to kind of just get through all of them because you got thousands of those emails. So that's one way to set that up. And that's just my personal opinion, and all the thousands of coaches I've ran into. You want to make their life easier. Coaches have short-term memories, and they also have quick memories. If all of a sudden you you have on your profile picture of something silly or what, coaches are going to run off on it. I would also, I know this sounds like a lot, but I'd also maybe put your height and weight on there too, because if you're an offensive lineman, dude, Coach Kelly, if you're if you're an offensive lineman and you say you're a center, defensive lineman, whatever on there, I want to see 6'2", 280. I want to see 6'3", 275. If I'm looking and I'm a basketball coach, if I'm a basketball coach and I'm looking for a center, I want to see your height and weight, right?
Oh, no question.
So you have to personalize it specifically to what you're looking to do. But so kind of give a rundown. So one more time before I'll let you take the floor, make sure that your profile picture is dialed in. You holding up money, or, doing silly stuff like that is going to kill your opportunity, especially when it's late in the game right now. So have a good avatar, good profile picture. Make sure you got your name on there. Make sure you've got your graduation date when you're going to graduate. I would say below that, I'd say height and weight, as well as your position, whatever position you are, and then your email. And then below that, I would have my link to my highlights.
Absolutely. Well, those are some really good things, and you absolutely should have all of those things. And like you mentioned, having your height and weight, especially in sports like, football, basketball, but really any sport, every sport has an ideal physical stature for the position that they want, whether it's, football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, whatever the case is. There's an ideal physical height and weight that coaches at specific levels are looking for. But in addition to those things that you mentioned, obviously you need to have your GPA on there and or ACT or SAT score, because that's going to be vital. Also, you should have a link to your schedule, because coaches want to be able to come out and see you play. So obviously, if you know your schedule, you want to have that up there so they have an opportunity to come out and see you. And then also, and this is very important, have your DMs open. If you're a recruit and you're uncommitted, why would you have your DMs closed? How can a college coach get in contact with you then if you're going to have your DMs closed? And I know kids may say something like, oh, I don't want random people DMing me or whatnot, but you want coaches DMing you. So you better have your DMs open, and you can just sort through all of the garbage that may be in there and then get to the coaches that are actually really interested in you and respond to them. So if you are a recruit and you're looking to be recruited and you're not committed, have your DMs open. And then obviously all of those things that Coach Z said are very important. And then obviously have the link to the schedule. And like we said, have your GPA up there. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a link to your transcript if you don't want people to see all your grades, but you can. You can. That's also something good to have if you wanted to put a link to your transcript, so coaches can look and see what classes you've taken, what grades you've gotten in those classes, especially if you're a high academic kid or you're a kid looking to go to a high academic school. Those are some things that you need to really have on there as well. So those are a few things that I would also include outside of the things that you mentioned. And that was a really good point you made about one thing I tell kids is have a professional demeanor on social media. So having things like you said up there, Coach Z, like having a picture of you like counting money or any type of like immature type of thing that may not be attractive to college coaches, eliminate all of that. Have a professional style picture, whether it's a picture of you in uniform smiling, or if you're a quarterback, a picture of you throwing a ball, or if you're a running back, a picture of you carrying the ball, or if you're a basketball player, a picture of you shooting the ball. Those are things that coaches want to see that are good pictures to have on your Twitter or X profile.
And even if you weren't to have, like, say, an action shot or you just holding a basketball, I think like a senior picture. If you don't have pictures,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Just have a senior picture on there. It shows that, maybe he's got a little bit more, he's got some values to him. Because coaches, like I said, coaches are very discriminate, I guess is probably the best way to put it when it comes to what they're looking for. And one thing that we're running into right now, because now you're dealing with the portal, is you're dealing with coaches that really are meaning what they say for them, and I know that sounds kind of silly, but a lot of times coaches in the past wouldn't necessarily mean what they say. So what I mean by that is that, so now there's fewer spots available for high school and junior college kids, now that there's just this absolute spin cycle of players going from one school to the next and timing. So you need to make sure that everything is dialed in when it comes to answering a question that a coach would have. But one of the questions that I hear a lot from coaches that they're asking is what kind of kid is he? What kind of person is he? It's, as simple as that may sound, but they're trying to build a relationship with whoever that coach is that they're talking to. But at the same time, they're trying to get an idea of who you are because there's so few opportunities. It's a tough time right now. And so you need to make sure that you, as simple as it sounds, just be a good person, man. Be as honest and be a good person and give these coaches a reason to come back. Good handshake, eye to eye, talk well. Coach, appreciate you. Follow up emails, stuff like that. And I think that's important. So what we were talking about with the profile, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, could be Facebook. I don't think coaches spend much time on Facebook, but they will, or they can.
They can, yeah. But
they will, yeah. I mean, and they'll investigate. Absolutely. Now, with that said, in business, we call them funnels. There are services out there to where you can use them for free. You can probably use PowerPoint. You could probably use Google Slides. I've never done that, but you probably can. So when you're connecting a link to your profile, say on Twitter, instead of having more than what we're telling you, 5 or 6 pieces of information, you can have on your link with your huddle. It can go to a service. I don't want to say service because that sounds bad, but you can click a link and then maybe set up some kind of a profile somewhere, some platform where then you can have your grades, you can have your offers, you can have a little bit more detail because you don't want to have all of that on your profile. And then they're not going to have you enough space on there anyway. So in addition to what we've said with your avatar, your name, graduation date, your link, your position, all that kind of stuff, make sure and at least I think they give you one link on Twitter, but find some way I think you can do it on Huddle. I can look and I can double check, but if you click the link, it can go to another profile like on Huddle that'll have your highlights, but also have a profile on there.
Absolutely.
And so you're not doubling up on Twitter and on your Huddle. So yeah,
Right.
You can put your lightweight on Huddle, whatever, but make sure and put some of those more additional things on there in regards to your academics or whatever. They're going to ask you anyway. They're going to ask you about that kind of stuff, but you want to get that initial trigger that's going to say, you know what, coach wants a little bit more of me, but I have to get his attention. I got to get him to stop scrolling. Their coaches are scrolling. They check their DMs, guys.
Absolutely.
You guys understand that the best way to get in contact with coaches is obviously email, social media, phone calls, that kind of stuff. But the number one, in my opinion, Coach Kelly, you might say this differently, powerful tool to really connect with these guys is social media. If you're having issues with distractions, because that's a lot of times that's what content is, just distractions. Get rid of all of them. Go clean up your social media, your followers and who's following you. You need to only be following coaches and people that are going to benefit you in this recruiting process. Wink, wink, me and Coach Kelly. But you need to only have that on there because if you have other people on there, you're going to waste time and effort. And go get all those coaches, DM all of them, DM them every other day. I don't care if they got 45 different, messages from you. Yeah, it's going to drive them crazy. Oh man, I got another one from this guy. Well, I got news for you. They're going to know you and they'll eventually get back to you, whether it's just a simple message that says, whatever they say, just simple, we'll get back to you, whatever. So anyway, that's what I would do. That's what I think is appropriate. And I think that will get a coach to stop scrolling in their tracks.
Yes, absolutely. And those are some really good points. And like you said, Twitter, Instagram are the 1 and 2 most effective social media platforms. Yeah, Facebook can be used, but to be honest, Facebook is more so used by older adults. You know what I mean? People 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever the case may be. So not a lot of necessarily teenagers are on Facebook like that. So it's not as important. But one of the other things we were talking about is emails, emailing college coaches. And I think a couple important things about emails is that, number one, if you're emailing a college coach, make sure that email is short. You don't want to have an email more than a paragraph. You don't want to be sending 3-4 paragraph emails, telling them about your whole life history and all of that type of stuff. Completely irrelevant. You know what I mean? Your email should be pretty simple. It should say, hey, coach, my name is so-and-so. I'm a linebacker from, Ridge Point High School, class of 2025. I'm very interested in your program. I think I'll be a great fit. Here's my contact information. I would love to for us to stay in contact. Real simple, and just include a link to your film and include a link to your schedule in that email. And a couple other things about email. Email multiple coaches on staff. Don't just email the head coach. You know what I mean? Like email multiple coaches. Like, so for example, if you're emailing USC, because I know you're in Southern California, if you're emailing USC, don't just email the head coach. You know what I mean? He's not probably going to read your email. Email the position coach.
Great point.
Email the recruiting coordinator. Email the graduate assistant. Email the video coordinator. Email, multiple coaches on staff. Because again, that Lincoln Riley is not reading your email. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. So what happens is, and to be honest with you, it's probably better to send it to those lower level staff members. No disrespect to them, but the video coordinator, director of operation, grad assistants, because those they will definitely read it because they want to try to find that next diamond in the rough so they can then run it to Lincoln Riley and be like, oh, hey, coach, I saw this lineman. He's 6'2", 275, running a 4.6 40. He looks great. Why don't you check him out? So that way they can move up the ladder if they uncover a diamond in the rough. So it's definitely a good idea to email multiple coaches on staff, no matter what sport it is you play, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, tennis, track. Email multiple assistant coaches, not just the head coach.
That's a real good point, and I won't take it too much further, but there's a reason that these lower level coaches that they spend more time looking at all these recruiting information because they want to move up eventually, as you just alluded to. And I think that is a major key point that some people are going to take and some won't. But if you want to be more efficient in your recruiting process, you need to think outside the box a little bit and stop doing what everybody's doing, because everybody will go and they will see Steve Sarkisian or, my buddy over at TCU. Stop sending your information to the coaches that are the most busy. Right. They are the most busy. What are you going to send your email to Nick Saban? You really think, honestly, that Nick Saban's going to read that? He probably doesn't even look at emails at all.
Probably doesn't, to be honest with you. Or social media. He probably has somebody running that stuff for him.
Yeah.
Hey, and one other piece of advice too, because people always say, I email coaches, they don't respond. I email coaches, they don't respond. One piece of advice I would say, before you start emailing coaches, have a conversation with your high school coach and ask your high school coach, excuse me, what level does he think you can play at the college level? Because, for example, if you're emailing Alabama, Texas, UCLA, USC, and you're a Division II caliber player, well, of course, those coaches are not going to respond to you because you can't play for them. So one piece of advice is go ask your high school coach, or if it's another sport, ask your club coach, hey, coach, what level do you think I can play at? And then when they tell you what level they think you can play at, then reach out to coaches at those levels, and then you'll get responses. But if you're not a Power 5 player and you're emailing Power 5 coaches, they are not going to respond. And you're going to say, well, coach, we did everything you said. You and Coach Z said do this and this and this in the email, and no one's responding. Well, it's like, well, you can't play at their level, so they're not going to respond. But if you email coaches at the appropriate level that you can actually play at, then you'll get some response. You'll get some reception.
Bring your camera down just a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and that it's as simple as that. I think we overthink this way too much, Coach. I think parents overthink it way too much, right? So I was talking to you the other day. You're talking about, on these Facebook groups, and everybody's
Right.
throwing out their comments and everything. They're always, well, should I go to here, bring it down just a little bit.
Oh, like there we go. I'm trying to adjust. There we go. All right.
Maybe mid chest.
So you can see this Doc shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but you realize how little parents actually know when they ask those questions. I mean, there's not just one person on those chats that are saying, there's thousands. I promise you, if we could see how many people view that, you would actually get a lot of people that are viewing that, especially parents. And so when we're dealing with parents, it's important to say, listen, let's do my research first on, say, the schools that we want to go play for. But most importantly, it's important to research, the lower level schools too, because, and I think it's almost even more important because there's so little spots at the Division I level. And the fact of the matter is you young student athletes, stop regurgitating what everybody else is saying that I'm a Division I athlete. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're watching, you're probably not. I'm not going to kill your
dreams, whatever.
Your dreams. You're probably not.
Right.
It's just, it's less than 1%. And you think of how many guys are out there. And if it gets to a certain point in the recruiting process, you need to stop playing games with it. There's only, I would say, 5 spots, even on any college football roster of 100 and something plus guys that are actually going to be brought in as walk-ons. And chances are they're already recruiting those guys and they're wanting to give them a preferred. Exactly. I was a guy that went to a tryout or whatever. The tryout was after the season. So it's, and it's few and far between. Now, I'm not saying you can't make it happen, but if you're wanting money, you're wanting the opportunity now, you're wanting to get this buzz as quickly as possible, that's the way you have to be thinking. Now, there's other ways to get that buzz, right? I always recommend, I used to not think this, but I think to get the experience, to get the exposure, and to get an idea of what coaches are looking for, not just from our podcast, you can go to these camps. They're $50 or whatever it is, but have a plan going into it and have questions that you're wanting to ask these coaches. For example, so you're researching these coaches. Okay, so out there with you, SMU coach, or I'm sorry, SMU camp, an SMU camp. Know those coaches. Just go find any coach on that staff. I don't care who it is. Go find that coach and say, hey, listen, I've been researching you. Know their name, know their information. Just say, hey, listen, I would love to play for SMU. I'd love to play at this level. And I would really appreciate if you would pay attention to what I got going on. And then maybe afterwards, you just say, hey, can I have your information, coach? Can I get whether it's your cell, your business card, your email? What did you think of me? And who knows? You never know. They may not be paying attention to you. They may be paying attention to you. But at the end of the day that's how you create your buzz. And then you get an idea of what these coaches are looking for. So when we're talking about social media, we're talking about somebody that hasn't went to these camps or doesn't have any contact with coaches. And that's an easy way to kind of get some buzz. And then go follow them online. Go find them, follow them online, push all your information to them. I would take it a step further, what we're talking about with profiles. If all of a sudden a coach says, oh, that's that kid from, the SMU camp, they stop. Then make sure that you do have maybe you can send them a DM. And in that DM, you can kind of reiterate what you have on your profile. And then on top of that, you can say, in addition, here's what my grades are, or whatever. But I will say on top of that too, Coach Kelly, that if they stop on your profile and they're scrolling through your timeline and you got a bunch of crap on there that is just, clearly not football related and it's character issue type stuff, boom, they're gone. It's just
100%
in and out. So you got to understand, you got to be touchy feely with all this kind of stuff. So that I think is a real big point when it comes to, as far as getting eyeballs of Coach Kelly, Coach Z, all these different coaches. Now you're talking about low-level coaches. They will check it and spend the time going through it. My buddy who was a GA, he said he just sits there and stares at a screen until his eyes bleed. And so, catch their eye and they'll take that straight to straight to the coaches.
Right. And two other things I would say, as far as when you're looking at camps and whatnot, it's a good idea. Email the coaches before you go to a camp. So, for example, no matter if you're going to like a specific school's camp, or if you're going to some type of All-American showcase, or whatever the case it is, if you're going to a camp or you're going to any type of event where coaches will be, reach out to those coaches before the camp and let them know, hey, my name is, Todd Kelly, and, I'm, 6'3", 230, and I go to this school, and I'm a year of 2026 graduate. I play linebacker. Because the thing is, you want the coaches to come into the camp looking for you. You don't want to have to do something spectacular for them to notice you. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different if I'm coming into the camp and I'm like, okay, who is this Todd Kelly kid that's number 10? Let me try to find number 10 in blue. And now they're looking for you. So now when you do so, they're like, oh, okay, we see this kid. So yeah, reach out to coaches before the camp or before the event so that they're aware of you. And then also reach out, like Coach said, after the camp, and just let them know, hey, Coach, I had a great time at this camp. It was great getting a chance to see you and speak with you. I would love to, continue this relationship. I would love to stay in contact. Here's my contact information. Here's my email. Here's my social media. Great meeting you. Bam, go from there. So that's something else to do, is to really make sure you reach out before the camp to introduce yourself and make sure that you're on their radar prior to whatever event it is you're going to.
And have courage when you do it, because you're a young kid or you're a parent of a young kid. Tell your young student athlete, have courage. I could probably go and talk. I could go to these camps and I could talk to every single kid there, and they probably haven't talked to those coaches at all. And a lot of it is due to kids being afraid of either failure or I don't know what it is. They get starstruck, whatever it is. You have to have courage. You cannot be afraid to go and talk to these coaches. The kid that's the loudest is the one that's going to win. Not loud as in making noise as far as, look at me. Not that. The one that makes the most noise as far as getting in front of coaches and putting the information out there will win at the end of the day, or for the most part. Right. Coaches only have so many available spots. I get it. But if you're a junior and you're coming through this thing, you need to be constantly in contact with these coaches, and then just being realistic about the situation, especially with D2, D3, NAI. And quit big time in these coaches. Right. You're not out of bounds. I know plenty of guys that have played Division II, Division III NAI that play in the NFL and do all these different things.
No question.
So,
and you brought up a good point earlier. I think it's real important about being realistic, because let's just be just being realistic. 90% of the kids that play high school sports will not play in college. 90%, so the chance that you're going to even play in college are slim. And like you said, less than 2% of high school student athletes will play Division I. Less than 2%. So the chances are overwhelmingly in favor that you won't play Division I. So it's very, very important to really don't big time any coaches, not only because you're throwing away opportunities, but people got to understand, coaches, especially assistant coaches, they move year to year. So that coach that's at a D2 today may be at a FBS tomorrow, and and then the next year be at a FCS tomorrow, then the next year be at a FBS. You know what I mean? So coaches move up, or that coach may be an assistant coach today, may be a head coach tomorrow. So it's very important to not blow off any coaches, to not burn any bridges. And in today's climate, it may just be better to go to that lower level that you may have looked down upon, but to go to that level, do really, really well, and then maybe you can transfer up to that level you desire to play at initially after high school. So it's very, very important to maintain relationships with all of these coaches and to not blow anybody off and to not burn any bridges.
So then that leads me to our next question, or I guess next point. And that is, let's say a student athlete, they graduate and now it's time to just say, you know what, I'm going to decide on a school and I'm going to go and I'm going to pursue this thing with little buzz, little whatever. Here's what I did, right? I had 0 offers. I had 1 phone call from a D3 school that kind of just said, you know what, probably not going to work out. I had the talent, had the ability. Now, this doesn't necessarily pertain to a high school kid, but it kind of does in the sense that if you feel like all hope is lost, I think that this is a real important point. Now, with you young student athletes that say, I still want to keep playing, but I have nothing. I'm going to a school. What do I do next? Is there still hope? Is there still an opportunity, or is the door shut? No. I'm going to tell you what you can do. Now, like I said, fast forwarding a little bit past what you and I typically talk about, but this is an important point, and this is what I did because I didn't have any offers, all that kind of stuff. When I went to the school, this is what I did to get the attention of the coaches. We're talking about social media and the attention. Here's what I did. So now I'm on campus. My first day at Utah State, and you can do this if you're a high school senior too, I guess. You can probably do this. I just walked through the front door, right? I already had all the information available to me. I did all my research on the coach, the program, everything. I walked through the front door and I talked to the receptionist and said, hey, I want to play for your program. What do I need to do? All right. Now, it took me probably 5, 6, 7 times to keep coming in. But eventually they said, here, listen, go talk to whoever. They just sent me to whoever's in the office. And guess what? It ended up being the recruiting guy. And he said, listen, we got to recruit. We got to try out. We do every year. And we'll see if we want to bring some guys in. And that's how I got my opportunity, man. But I think a lot of times, if we're talking to a senior right now in high school, go to the college, go walk through the front door. Is this, hopefully this isn't off track.
No, it's good. Yeah.
Walk through the front door, talk to the receptionist. You better be prepared and go tell them, hey, I'm a high school senior and I want to play here. And what do I need to do to get prepared and get ready to go? And they'll give you some dates and they'll tell you the coaches to talk to and all that kind of stuff. So do you have something to add to that? I mean, I know that's kind of off topic, but
no, but that goes to your point, which is a good point. If you have to be proactive and you have to be, like you said, the loudest one, but not, in a way that's distracting. But you being loud means that you have to be like aggressive with your recruiting process. You have to reach out to coaches. You have to send those emails. You have to go up and talk to them in person. You have to get on their radar some kind of way. And just going up to the school, like you mentioned, going to the front desk, talking to the receptionist, like, hey, is anybody here I can talk to? Hey, I want to play here. That type of persistence, is what can pay off a lot of times. So yeah, that's absolutely great advice and something that student athletes should be doing.
Yeah. Sorry, that was just something that popped in my head. And to plug my YouTube, go to my YouTube channel. I talked a little bit about that in a YouTube short, but I got a whole bunch of those shorts we talk about. But whether you're on, I should probably preface it like this, whether you're already on campus and you think that there's no real opportunities left, or you're a high school senior and you're getting ready to graduate and you think, well, there's no opportunities. You break down those schools that you're going to go to, or whatever school it is you're going to go to. That's one way. And that's another opportunity that you can put yourself in front of a coach that maybe you saw at a showcase or whatever, and you just fell through the cracks. That gives you an opportunity to say, you know what? Okay, there's still a little bit of that hope out there. And coaches love persistence. Coaches love guys that are proactive. I just posted an interview I did with a guy named JT Rogan. He actually came in, I want to say his freshman year in the spring, and he was about 160 pounds, 5'8", and he was at University of San Diego when Jim Harbaugh was there. That was Jim Harbaugh's first stop in coaching.
San Diego,
and and he told JT, nah, it's not going to work out. JT kept staying persistent with it, and eventually, get this, a guy quits, and a guy just decides to quit or whatever. And then sure enough, the next day he runs into Jim Harbaugh in person, and Harbaugh said, all right, come on in. And then ended up JT put the time and work in, and 3 years later he ends up being an All-American. And so, those are real stories. And that was University of San Diego's Division I,
right?
Division I school. And so when you think all hope is lost and being able to pursue your passion, your dream, whatever, those are little pieces of information that definitely go a real long way. And what was the last question you wanted to talk about?
Well, we talked about the emails, we talked about the social media, and I'm not even sure. I think that may have been I forgot the last one. But yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the last thing I will say is like, when we're dealing with whether it's social media or just your online presence or follow-up emails or anything like that, making sure that you think just like a coach thinks and understand that there's thousands of guys out there and that you need to be able to give the coaches the meat and potatoes to where they want to keep coming back. And also another thing I think that we overlooked a little bit, and you maybe don't have to put this on your Twitter or your Instagram or whatever, but definitely do it in your email when you send them an email or a DM, right? There is a difference between your profile and then, your profile on the main part of your page on Twitter, social media, like Instagram. But when you DM the coach, that's when you start adding things like your coach's phone number and things like that. I just wouldn't go on a long rant just saying, hi, my name is, listen, I get those all the time. And I know you're sending them to everybody. Right. And sometimes they won't even anyway, but make sure that it's not, you can tell it's mass email because a lot of times, especially if you're from, hopefully I'm not offending anybody, but like somewhere in New Jersey or Michigan or all these other places, I'm in San Diego, man. If you're all over these places and you're undersized or whatever, I'm just moving on to the next guy. So you want to make sure that when you do actually have that conversation or start it with either text message on your phone or you get into an actual message on Twitter and Instagram, then you start adding those fine details of your coach's information, your your handles of all the different social media, all that kind of stuff. Right. So,
one last piece of advice I would say too is that in social media, make sure that you, number one, have a professional demeanor on social media, meaning act like you're obviously you're not a professional, you're a high school or a college kid, but you have to have an appearance and you have to have a demeanor of a professional while you're on social media, and then also have a presence. So don't just have a Twitter page and leave it blank. You know what I mean? Make sure that you are tweeting out something every week or so. Say for example, big district win last night versus Rose Hill. Looking forward to the championship game next Wednesday versus McKinney Christian or whatever. Just tweet something out every week or so that kind of shows that you're engaged, that shows that you're a team player, that shows that you care about your sport and that you care about your development, or something even as simple as, man, had a great workout yesterday with 5 of my teammates, or for example, if you're a quarterback, put something like, oh, had my wide receivers in last night, getting some work in with them, looking forward to getting our tight ends in next week, working with them, or something like that just shows coaches that you're a serious athlete and that you are someone that they should be wanting to recruit and bring into their program.
Answer the questions that coaches would have about you. And then when they scroll down, I don't care so you could start your own podcast, you could start your own vlogs. I don't care what it is, but showing what you're doing to improve yourself in areas that maybe you need work in. You're just all about marketing yourself in a positive way. As a coach, I love when kids show me awards of academics, on the field.
Absolutely.
You're doing community work. You're doing all that kind of stuff because we're dealing a lot with attitude issues and, those kind of things. We're dealing with this portal. So they're tightening it up even more with bringing in players. Now coaches aren't going to be able to know everything, but you're just trying to get that initial response or reaction from a coach to where they are convinced that you are who you are showing that you are. So let's land the plane right here. But I'll just say, listen, make sure if you guys have any questions on anything, you reach out to Coach Kelly and me, Coach Z. Coach Kelly is on Facebook. I'll try to do a little bit better job of, I think I tag you on those, but maybe I don't. But make sure, go follow Coach Kelly, go follow what he's got going on. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to get any better information than what we have to offer you. If you are in the Texas area and some of the surrounding states, Coach Kelly is probably coming to your high school. And if not,
Yeah.
you're an administrator, definitely hire him, have him come to your school, or whoever is in charge of helping with the movement of young student athletes to the next level, advisors, whatever, because it's such an important thing. And especially you parents, if we have parents watching, you guys are going to have a lot of questions, and we will answer them on our show. So make sure that you send it to us, send it to our inboxes, whatever, and we will check those, and we'll go from there. But also, in addition to that, go check out Walk On Warrior on YouTube. Listen, go subscribe to it. I'm popping a lot of real good pieces of information out there. Probably 2 or 3 pieces every single day. If anybody wants anything of us to talk about, or me or whoever, we'll definitely get that stuff out there. So we're trying to make as much noise as we can, and we're not giving fluff. It's all about reality. It's all about just laying it out there for you. And we're doing it for free. We don't want anything. We just want you to to get it, be successful, and all that good stuff. So, Coach, did you have any final thoughts?
No, not really. Just man, it's a great, being on here, giving this information to the parents and student athletes. Feel free to reach out to me, whether email, if you have any questions about the recruiting process or anything like that. I'm always available. You go to my website, www.kellycollegeconsulting.com. You can get in contact with me that way. And hey, I'll be in Irving ISD next week at Irving High School. So look forward to seeing all the parents, student athletes of Irving High School on Monday the 29th. But thanks a lot.
All right, guys, reach out to us if you guys got any questions, and we'll leave it at that. Thanks, Coach.
All right, definitely. Thank you.